Sierra's ear things up
Okay, there it is.
It'd probably be better if I had those ear things in, right? Okay, will you give them to me? Hey, Shonda.
Hey.
No. Over there by the toaster.
Thanks for setting this up, Caitlin.
Sure.
Huh? I don't have a microphone. I know I can use the mic here for that. Right? Okay. All right, let's see.
I know we have quite a bit who accepted the calendar.
No, that's not working.
Let me see.
Which one is it? Hold on a second. It doesn't work, Mia.
I can hear you, sis.
Caitlin, can you?
Yes, we can hear you.
Uh-oh. Nope, something went. Caitlin, can you hear me?
Mika, is your,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. I was trying to use some earplugs. Well, not earplugs, but I plugged it in, but they're not working. So just do it like this. Yeah, this little hole right here. Can you hear her?
Can you hear me?
Shonda, say something.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear her out here. You can hear her? Oh, no, I hear her out here.
Oh, you hear her out there?
Yeah, that's what probably what.
You hear me?
Okay, Caitlin, say something.
I can hear you.
Yes, we can all hear you.
No, I hear out here, Eric, that's what you were hearing. Okay. I was trying something a little different, but that's not working, so.
All
Do
right.
you want to start now, Caitlin?
Let's see.
Are there more people coming in?
No one's waiting just yet. I've let everybody in so far. I'm not showing anybody waiting.
Okay, we had a few more, or quite a fair amount.
Yeah. So
the calendar invite, they might just.
Yeah, sometimes it take a little bit to log in. So maybe give something.
Okay.
Maybe a few more minutes.
Who's the D. Wilson 9? Shonda.
Let me see. I'm thinking it's probably let me see who that is. See if they can unmute. Oh shoot, no, not that. Almost. Let me send them a message. Do you want to ask people to maybe give a little bit of information because they can do it in the chat box? I'm not sure if you had any questions on the age of their students or.
I did. That was one of the things that I was interested in knowing was the age of their children.
Are you thinking D. Wilson, maybe somebody you worked with when you were at CCAN?
No, I thought you guys thought I heard you say there wasn't anyone waiting.
Oh, okay. No. Well, before they come in, I have to admit them in. So all the people you see,
Okay.
I mean, they're on, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, but she had quite a few that said they were going to attend. So we want to give a little bit. Right now, I'm showing we got 7 in here, just to give a little bit.
Okay.
But so in the text box, you can put questions, or not sure if you guys are doing. You can do little. What's the word I'm looking
Yeah,
for?
I was thinking of questions at the end.
Mm-hmm. So when you can, let me see.
And I was saying probably try not to go over, because I want to be respectful of everyone's time and their families.
Yeah.
So
We can probably go ahead and start.
Go ahead and start. Okay. Yeah, because the time is going to go real fast.
Yeah.
yeah, it does.
Yep. All right,
Mhm.
then.
Mia, I'm sorry. Mia, I'm starting. Okay. So I was telling Caitlin earlier that my family is cooking breakfast, so you probably will hear noise in the background, but this is the way we roll over here with homeschooling. School goes on and everyone cooks breakfast. Eric's at home, working from home, so we're all here together making it work. I homeschool 4 kids, well, now 3. And so who I am is I'm a wife. Eric is my husband, a mother of 4. Their ages, Aaliyah will be 20 next week. Mia is 17. Sierra is 15. And Noah is 13. He just turned 13. So the 6 of us are home, and everyone, they're older now, so they can work independently. But when they were younger, we were, like I was telling Caitlin, just elbow to elbow here at the table or outside somewhere, making it work. I started homeschooling when Aaliyah was 4. Like I said, she's getting ready to turn 20. And my connection with CCAN is that I used to work at CCAN, and then came home when I had Aaliyah. So, and Shonda is my sister. I have this picture here. As you can see, it's twisted. It's to be flexible, because homeschooling requires that you be very flexible in, your teaching styles, and in, the way that you present your information. Homeschooling requires that you accommodate different teaching styles. This is Aaliyah. She's home doing classes online, which is something very new for her. We did not do online classes, homeschooling with her, but with the virus, this is what she's doing. And this is the way, if you see, look, she has the computer, she's standing with the computer tilted. Not the way I would do it, So she works like that. She walks around with the computer. So learning occurs in different ways. So as parents, homeschooling parents, it does require that you learn the learning style of, your children. Aaliyah is a visual kinesthetic learner. So it requires her to move. She needs to see it, read it, things like that. So it, like I mentioned before, it does require that you accommodate each child's learning. And once once you know the learning style of your child, it does make it a lot easier for that motivation to be there. One of the things I like is that try and teach, bring the lesson in with the various learning styles, meaning try and use as many of the, the senses as you can. So if she's visual, or Mia, Sierra, I'm a visual, so that's the first way I teach, but I try and bring in the other learning styles, make it hands-on. If it's something that we can cook that's, related to history, a time in history, we'll do that. So if you can bring in as many of the senses and the learning styles as you can, then that just helps that student to grasp and be able to encode that information. And it's not such a, it's not hard for that student to understand what's going on, because you have incorporated a way that that student can learn. So try and use visual, auditory, and the kinesthetic styles in all your lessons, okay? Bring it in. It doesn't have to be an intense way that you bring it. You can bring it in a little bit here, a little bit there from each learning style, okay? Do not spend a lot of time trying to make it perfect, because we're not going for perfect. We're going for good, not perfect, okay? It's not going to be perfect. If you striving for perfect, you're going to wear yourself out, and it's just going to be very stressful. So strive for good, okay? So with visual, they like words, okay? Being able to see, being able to highlight, graphs, maps. With the auditory, of course, they like to talk through the lesson. Always talking, always talking. They need to hear it, okay? They need to give out that information. And I have an auditory learner, and if you're not an auditory learner, it can be very challenging as a mom, because it's like, oh my gosh, he's still talking. She's still talking. So, but that's their learning style. And as moms, we are leaders, or co-leaders, and managers. So that means that we have to learn and accommodate, adapt to those different learning styles. So with the kinesthetic, they need to move and talk, move and talk. They need to be doing something with the lesson, okay? So with some history, sometimes you can make the clothing, you can do stuff with your hands. That's the cooking part of that. But once you understand that child's learning style, it becomes a lot easier for them to succeed, because they say, oh yeah, now I understand. Mom or dad, you're at my level. Because a lot of times what we want to do, we want to bring the children to our level, when what we need to do is come to their level, and then we can move them up. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? Sounds like, okay. With a kinesthetic, or with any of the learning styles, their primary one will be the one that you teach to, but we still need them to improve in those other learning styles. So, for example, with a kinesthetic learner, can take visual information. Okay, they can learn visual information the same, and auditory information. We need them to know all three and be able to listen and work with hands, but understand that their primary one will be the main one that they gravitate to. Okay. Now this, he's not motivated at all. So, motivation, how do we increase that? What is it? One of the things that I strive for is really, that can be a challenge, is to make it fun. It doesn't need to be some fun over the top. It doesn't. So we want to make it fun. We want to, when it's fun, it increases their engagement, okay? Because they're like, oh, I like this. Let me get in there and do it. Also, if we have the fun, engagement, and the learning increases, that increases the motivation. Then the motivation increases. So with lessons or with any of the schoolwork, anytime that you can tie in where it's fun, the motivation goes up. Most of the time when you're doing field trips and it's a fun field trip, they are learning, okay? So if you're outside and you're doing a nature study, okay, outside is good. That is, especially for little ones, those nature walks at the park, things like that. Kids find that fun. Do we always want to get out and, out to the park or nature walk? No, and you don't have to do it all the time, but just know that that increases the child's learning if they can get out. Another thing, we need to learn their interests. What are they interested in? That helps with the motivation. If we can, put the lesson, gear the lesson toward their interest, bring their interest in. If they like to cook, okay, let me see how I can bring cooking into the lesson. Motivation, another way of motivating, if you know someone that is skilled in a certain area that your child is interested in, schedule some one-on-one time with that person, between the two to learn that subject. Okay. Let's see. Offer them choices. One of the things, a choice between not that they get to do homework or play, because they'll probably choose play, but when can they start their subjects? Do the subjects really need to be started in the morning? Can it be afternoon? Are they evenings? If they, are they an evening person? Okay, so giving them choices of when to start, but understanding that it has to be done. Okay, does subject 1 need to be at 9 o'clock, or can it be at noon? I'm giving some choices. Another way you can motivate is through games. Okay, there are a lot of sites where you can make your own games. A lot of stores online or in town where you can find games on many subjects. Okay. One of the things we used here for English was a program that she had chants where you can do the prepositional phrase, learn the prepositional phrases, learn various verbs, blah, blah, blah. And it was all by chant, okay, these songs. So if you have an auditory learner, then, that's what they will like, is, hearing these, okay, these different songs. Okay, so chores, sort of the same way with schoolwork. Do the chores need to be done in the morning? Can they be done in the afternoon? Or or evening. Now, my four grew up doing chores. I mean, it's routine. Do chores. I'm really not at the point where the chores have to be done all in the morning, all in the afternoon. So each family is different, okay? And what works for you may not work for somebody else. With the chores, with the chores, try and have them, if it's a chore that they can do by themselves, then that's great. Schedule that chore during a time when you know, okay, while they're doing a chore, I can quickly do an email, a call. If they're small and they know how to unload the dishwasher, that's something that they can do by themselves while you quickly go and do something for work. Okay, so use their independent skill or independent chore that they can do to also, what I want to say, pair it up where they're doing their independent chore and you're doing your work. Okay, so try and team that chores up like that, then that will give you a little break. Because while they're doing their independent chore, if you don't have any work to do at home, you could use that as some quiet time for yourself. And for schedule, there are a lot of schedules on various sites, but the schedule that is best is the one that is best for your family. So if you want to schedule everything to, okay, my child is trying to do something and I don't know what they're trying to tell me. So, oh, okay. I don't know where it is. Okay.
You're trying to find your chat box.
Did you say?
Yeah. Okay. I think
it?
Yeah. It should be down at the bottom of the screen where you see. Hopefully you can see it down at the bottom of the screen. But if you can't find it, what I'll do is I can send it through you to text. I'll send it to you text, so then that way. I think maybe some people, you might want to, you're going to take questions toward the end. So you're going to cover and then maybe take a few questions toward the end. Okay, but I'll send you the questions or remarks that pop up in chat. Sorry, I'll mute myself. Okay.
Let me turn.
Excuse me. There's one thing I learned about Zoom. If you're on your phone, they do not have that part where you have the chat box, I don't think.
So if you're on a mobile device, Miss Betty,
I couldn't quite.
You may not see it.
Say it again, Shonda.
Miss Betty was saying that if you're on a phone, a mobile device, sometimes that chat option is not at the bottom. But I'll send you any comments that come up. There's been a couple. I'll send it to you in a text, so then that way you can, address them at the end, and then we can make sure you can see them.
Okay, that'll work. Yeah, that'll work. I'll keep my phone on. Okay. I was saying for schedule, we schedule we remember, birthday parties and meetings. So with scheduling, it's best to prioritize and put everything on schedule. I mean, even breaks, schedule in those school breaks. The kids need breaks throughout the day. So put those on the calendar that they will take one, throughout the day during school. I mean, they do, at school when they're at the building school, they have breaks. So they're used to that. So coming home, we need to make sure that they have their breaks at home also. So schedule in as much as you can, prioritize, and then put those things on schedule. But don't overload the schedule, because you want some time in there where if something unexpected comes up, you want to be able to, you have built in this unexpected time. So don't fill up your schedule completely. Leave some blocks in there as for breaks. So schedule the breaks, schedule your snack times for the kids. This just helps them to keep going, not working on a hungry, tummy. Schedule everything in, post it somewhere, and they know, okay, let me look. Okay, I need to go from 11 to 11:30 doing this. So they can see that, okay, I know when I need to start, I know when I need to end. Because to go to do school all day long into the night gets everybody on the wrong, just makes everything very unpeaceful. So when you're scheduling, okay, we're gonna do school from noon to 4, but in there you're gonna have all these breaks. And you're gonna have snack, you're gonna have your lunch, okay? School has to stop. We have, in the past, done schoolwork to nighttime, and it just does not make for a peaceful home, okay? So schedule in, time to turn it off, we'll tackle it the next day. The crock pot, if you can schedule in your meals by, scheduling the time that you have your snack, you have your lunch, put that crock pot on, early in the morning, do that. It'll save you some time, and you won't be as frazzled trying to figure out what's for dinner. Work and school, I touched on some of this as far as the schedule and the calendar spot. If you need a designated spot to work, find you a spot that is comfortable for you, and the kids know that, okay, mom is at this spot, she's going to be working, but let them know that, they can approach you while you're working, because you are at home, everybody is at home, but that spot, when you're there, you are working. Comfortable as far as the kids' school area, pillows, make it comfortable, plants, make it homey. You want them to be comfortable. Some kids, what's comfortable is them on their bed, not always at the table. Some kids don't work, they don't do their work, they're not at their, they're not at their best at a table. They need to be up moving around, they may be laying on the bed, they may need to lay on the floor. That's comfortable for them. For me, I like to be at a table. So, and you may need to bring in a desk. Okay. Some kids, they need that small space to work at. A table might be too big. It's too much extra space in front of them. A desk it's all there, so they're right there, and that's all they need to look at. So with light, natural light is is best, in my opinion. Getting outside doing schoolwork. It can be front yard, backyard, on the porch, but natural light, as much natural light as you can. So open up the blinds, the curtains, so that, you know, the kids can have that natural sunshine coming in on them. You know, at school, they get out, they have recess. There's a reason for that. That's what, because you need that vitamin D, and just, you know, with sunlight, just uplifts your spirit, it gets you motivated. It also gives, you know, when you get out, gives the kids time to run some of that energy off. Let me check to see if I have any questions that maybe I'm missing in. Okay.
And then if anybody wants to ask questions, let me know. I can see the chat box. So if you're not able to unmute yourself, let me know. But I think it's set up to where everybody can unmute themselves and talk if they want to.
Let's see. Okay. One of the other things on making the home comfortable, or making the environment comfortable, is temperature. If the kids are too hot, that can be just, I mean, just wear you out. It's just, I can't work, it's too hot. If they're too cold, so finding a temperature that is, you know, that works for everyone, because you don't want to have to keep, you know, fussing if that's what's going on about, you know, the temperature. Let's make it comfortable. If it requires, you know, working in just a, you know, a short sleeve t-shirt, short sleeve t-shirt. If they want to work in their shorts, because they you know, they get hot easily, let's try and accommodate that. That's easy. Put on some shorts. You don't need to be in your socks. Okay, take the socks off. So temperature can be an issue too. Another thing that for the schoolroom or the area where kids are schooling, color can be overstimulating. So think if the room is too bright for them, you may need to move them to another room where, you know, that's not overstimulating for them. Okay. Okay, let me look at a message from question. Let's see. Okay, trying to make sure I cover.
You want to speak to making adjustments for students that may have special needs? Any suggestions along that? I know through the co-op you've worked with some students that had some challenges with reading, and some of the things you did
Yes.
to adjust to the various students you had. I know that was
Yes. Some of the things that I tried with my students that in my reading class, ages 5 to 8, 5 to 8, that what I found was the lesson had to be short. They had to move around. So, and they had to be active, because sitting, you know, for that 45 to 50 minutes, we had to play games. We had to get up out of seats. And some of my students needed the one-on-one. And so my assistant would work one-on-one with with some of my kids that had special needs. Okay. A lot of energy that has to be, that they need to burn off. So a lot of games were played for reading.
I
There's also,
wanted to know,
I've read about, I haven't, go ahead.
I wanted to know, for me, my child is special needs, but he loses focus really fast. And when when we're on a task, I find myself getting a little exasperated when he starts to play while we're doing lesson. Like you said, they have to move around, they got to do games, got to do this. But how do you keep them on task while you're doing these games and losing focus and you going from one thing to another? His thing is he has to do the same thing over and over again before it sticks into his head. He has Down syndrome. He was born with Down syndrome that way. So that's my question. How do you keep them on task while they over here, over there, and whatever?
Right. You know, with my experience with Down syndrome kids is that they do best with one-on-one, and the game does have to be very short time span. It does. And you are going from one thing to the next. So it may be 5 minutes on this game, 5 minutes on another one, you know. So yes, it is like that, where you're hopping from one area to another. So it may be a different game in that for 5 minutes you are doing a math game. For another 5 minutes you might be reading. So it does require that you do a lot of movement with them. The kids are busy. They have a lot of energy. They are busy. Yeah. And something else you might want to try is the balls, the therapy balls that are some of the schools are using. I haven't tried them, but the balance balls, where the kids are able to, they have so much energy that the schools were finding that just sitting in the chairs was, you know, the typical desk was not working. So they've gone to these balance balls, and they make them child size and adult size. And so some of the schools are using those to give kids, you know, that movement to move around, which burns up some of that energy. And when they're finding that being able to do this, that bouncing up and down helps them to stay focused a little longer. So that's another area you might want to check into, are the balance balls.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see.
So how do you, you know, because a lot of people now have just recently, you know, started at home, and they're with their kids, and they're trying to do everything, and so it sounds like there's a I don't want to call it a dance, but there's a lot of adjusting on trying to get, you know, to that point where you figure out what the optimal. So like, okay, I'm going to try to figure out my kids' primary learning style, try to incorporate the others. Like, is there, and maybe there might be some tools, but to help them figure out what's best for my, you know, for my kiddo, you know, you know, like some ways to kind of figure that out. Maybe, you know, do you try something for a week and see how that goes, and maybe adjust how to, you know, to come up with the best?
Well, you know, with the learning styles, it does, there are various assessments that are available, but if you are able to observe, you know, definitely, you know, give enough time to really pay attention to, you know, each child, that will help you see what, what they need, their learning style. There are a lot of assessments online that you can use, but for me, I just, paying attention to each child lets me know their learning style. I know their personality, but it takes, just observing each individual child, because they're all different. They prefer, each prefers certain things and different things. Yeah. So starting out, I would say, for those that are just starting, you might feel more comfortable with doing, finding an assessment and working from that, starting there. And then once you're more comfortable and you say, okay, yeah, I can see that, and I see that, you get more comfortable in bringing out, using your own skills and knowledge about what you see in your children. But you might want to start with an assessment if that's, if you feel more comfortable that way. So for, sometimes plan A does not work, okay? Plan A was for me, you might say plan A for you was to teach this math this morning or this afternoon, but you're not the math person, right? So now what? The math needs to be done. The teacher's asking for it. How can I help this child learn this concept? Okay. There are many of things, videos online that can show different concepts, flashcards online, you name it. If you know someone that knows math or whatever subject better than you, call them up, okay? If the grandparent or the spouse knows a subject, then okay, let me call the teacher, see if we can turn this in tomorrow until, dad can cover it with you, okay? Plan B, you got to have a backup plan if it doesn't, if things do not go as well as you wanted them to do with school. So co-ops, my kids are high school now. There are several high school subjects that, I'd rather someone else teach than me. So co-ops are available where you have various parents teaching that subject. There are support groups that can lead you to the different co-ops. They can give you information about what's available in the community, okay? So, and one-on-one with someone in the neighborhood to teach that subject, or, it might be that plan B is I'm gonna find a documentary that will talk about, this history, than us sitting at the table talking about it. If that child is a visual learner and you can find something on TV regarding that, do that. Okay. If it's math that you're struggling with, okay, let's make this a win-win for everybody. You like video games. I want you to learn this math concept. Let me see if I can find a video game that covers this math concept, and it's a win-win. Okay, you like watching TV? When my kids were small, they watched Word Girl. They like cartoon, they wanted to watch. I wanted them to learn. Okay, win-win, win-win. That, because there's no reason to keep nagging. Find what works for them and win-win. Lessons. Okay, so if you can find that subject, then, and that person is a visual, your child is a visual, go for it. Yeah. Let's see. Any other questions? Let's see.
Did we, some of the questions that were sent in before the workshop, did we address everything that was submitted before? I didn't get to see that list, but.
I tried to.
I wonder about the just the pressure, the parents, you know, taking care of themselves mentally and all that, you know, the different things to keep our stress level down, or how to observe when, like, okay, you know, how to be aware of what's going on with you, so that, okay, maybe we need to take a time out, or today is not the day, and we're just gonna, we might need to, you know, try that again later.
Right. Yeah, that self-care is what I have that as, you know, couple time. Just because you two, you know, you and the spouse are in the same house does not mean you are intentionally focused on each other. So it may entail date night once a month, once a week, what works for you as a couple. That's very, very important to get out so that you can keep that marriage intact and keep the communication open. Personal time, it may be that you have to get up extra early to pull in some personal time, and that personal time may be reading, it may be thumbing through magazine, it may, you know, coffee or tea, your personal time. How long? If you get up an hour, it could be an hour before. It could, you know, maybe your personal time, you really only need, you know, maybe you only need about 30 minutes each day. You can work that in. Personal time could be on the end, you know, it can be on the end. You decide where you want your, you know, personal time in the morning or at the end of the day when everybody is down and the house is quiet. That may be where you get your personal time. But during your personal time, maybe it's a walk. You know, it could be a walk, you know, out in the yard. It might be gardening. You know, what energizes you, okay? Where you know, do something that you like throughout the week, or, you know, early in the morning or the evening. Because with schooling, homeschooling, you're with the kids all day, you need to take a break. And so earlier when I was talking about putting breaks into your schedule, the kids need breaks, but so do you. So take your break when they're taking their break. So like for us moms, when, you know, when the babies were home, and, you know, new mommies especially, and they say when the babies sleep, you should sleep. So when you schedule them a break time, that's time for you to break too. Okay, so when they break, you break. Okay, you know what you need during that break. Have it there. If you know you like a certain tea or coffee or book, you know, have that prep the night before, and you don't waste up your time trying to get it all pulled together. It's already pulled together. You pulled it together the night before. All you got to do, break, and, you know, go to that. So yeah, self-care is very important whether you're homeschooling or not. You need that self-care, that personal time. And if you put everything to a calendar where everyone can see it, sure, you know, that is very helpful because the kids, once they get used to the routine, they can go up there and look to see, okay, what am I to be doing now? Okay, so it's, you have to start small, but once they're in the routine, they will see, okay, 10 o'clock, from 10 to 10:15, I'm doing this. And that helps them to, take ownership of what they need to do with their time. Not always coming to mommy or daddy saying, asking, what do I do next? What do I do next? Teach them to read the calendar and know, for themselves what needs to be done. This sets them up for life because, okay, this is a skill that they need to know for themselves, how to manage their time. There are various, so many resources out on homeschooling, with homeschooling as the category, and then underneath you can have all these subcategories. But anything that you want to know about homeschooling, you can find it a lot of online resources. Like I said, Oklahoma Homeschool is an organization. They have information about laws and techniques, and they have workshops, videos that you can watch. There's a lot of information out, and it can be overwhelming. It can. So start small, okay, and just add on to what works for your family. But be flexible. Like I said in the at the very beginning with this slide here, be flexible, okay? Because if you are not, it just makes it really stressful. You want to be flexible, but also flexible, not to the point where the kid, you just fly by the seat of your pants, but flexible in that, okay, I tried this, it doesn't work for my family. Okay, let's try something else. There's a fit out there, for your family, and you know what works for. So be flexible. The other thing I would say is to make sure you do your self-care, okay? Self-care is important. That will, keep you energized to keep going. And let's go to the resources. Homeschool Oklahoma. And the A to Z homeschooling is full of very helpful information. Very helpful information. Let's see, what else? Well-Trained Mind. I love that site. It's a very good homeschool site. And then the two books I have that are definitely on for learning styles. Excuse me. The Way They Learn by Cynthia Tobias. Awesome book, awesome. And Differential through Learning Styles and Memory. I think that's yeah. So those two are very good books on learning styles and research. So I would, if you can get those two books, during your homeschool time, read a little bit here, a little bit there. Video, Cynthia Tobias has videos. So if you're a visual person and a visual or audio, and you need a video and not a book, definitely look at her videos. And then, let's see. The Wings to Soar, that is a site that has information on it for children with special needs. Okay. And for the kids that like to fidget, that site is good. Also, any of the tools like the slide I showed with the flexible fidget. It's it's for those that fidget, and so it gives them something to move in their hand. So sites like that help with children that like to move. But another, it's not on here, something I read that I didn't get to try with my kids at when school was in, was that a technique that they used, they took an exercise band and and put it around the legs of the chair, and the kid tied it, and the kids could bounce their feet on the band. So, it gave them something to bounce their feet on. And then the other thing, I haven't used this either, but putting tape or some type of material underneath the table so that the kids could rub their hand under the table on that material helps with those that, got to have something to touch and move and feel. So I am open for questions if anyone has any more. And I hope this, has given everyone a little something to think about or to add a little something into their homeschooling. So with special needs, it does take, a lot of energy to know that they need to move a lot. Okay. But I don't have a lot of experience with special, with a lot of special needs kids. So I can just, recommend finding, a trustworthy organization that can help you meet the needs of, the children.
Which one of these sites?
So that may be.
How many of these sites are free sites, and how many do you have to pay a fee for?
Oh, the resources that I listed are free, are just online organizations.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions? Man, we did we're right at 1 hour. That's perfect timing. Does anybody else have any questions? The resources, we'll send that out to the section and to everybody, so that way you can have that, save it, especially since we're in very fluid times. We don't know what next semester and stuff is going to look like. So I think some good resources to hang on to. And I saw that you provided your contact information to Mika, so if they have questions or something comes later, I see that you put your email and everything on there on the resource list.
Yeah. Everyone's free to, contact me. My number's there. If I don't answer, if you call, leave me a message. I'll get back with you. You're free to text or call or email. Not a problem at all. Yeah. In closing, I would definitely say, study each child for their learning style and your learning style. Because just because you are, like I said, you may be visual, but your child may not be, okay? So learn the child's learning style, accommodate that. And it may be hard for you to accommodate that because you're used to, working with, yourself, the teachers are normally, in that morning hours of schooling, when they were at school. So it may be a little challenging to switch over a little bit and accommodate your kids' learning style. And remember, we're not going for perfect. We're going for good, okay? And sometimes good is not a good day and you want to start over. Okay, tomorrow is a new day. Do not beat yourself up because, it didn't go as planned. So you're not perfect.
I guess if, let me see, I'll check the chat box. I think that might be it. We showed the resources. I think everybody has the ability to unmute themselves. If you want to speak and you can't unmute, let me know in the chat box and I'll do it, or wave your hand. Just give it a few more seconds here. So we got a couple more people in here. And if not, then that's going to be a wrap. All right, then.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you
so much.
You're welcome, Miss Betty.
I'm going to be leaving the meeting right now. My son has his last class today. School is the last day of school, so we have to do his schoolwork today. But I thank you so much, and I did learn a whole lot, and I think I will be able to apply it.
Well, you give me a call if you need me.
Okay, I will.
All right.
Have a good day.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Everybody,
you are welcome.
All right.